another daily cast here. We'll be spectating Basti and Bonny against SSP and Aviator. Very high-end game right here. Let's see what are the starts for the players. We are at the beginning of wave 1. Let me just add those little boxes for you. Oh wait, might put that behind here. Alright. So no starts yet for Basti and Bonny. We do have SSP going for the washroom start. Going for the risky one, not placing the warg yet. We do have the Windhog start from Bonny. Still waiting on people placing their stuff. We have Oathbreaker on Basti and Aviator going for the Growl. So Growl into a Violet, potentially, maybe even an Orkin. He does receive a 20 here, so that must be a 5-worker Violet. 5-worker Violet. So everybody going for 5 workers. Aviator is the slowest one out there, but the safest. And yeah, so wave 1 builds are on the screen yet here. So if you want to look at this. So we do have the Oathbreaker doing its job. Needs a better support on wave 2. Does have the Ranger, can do pretty well. Sorry for the lags here. I should be resolved. Oh yeah, the Fire Archer is also another option. Find it a little bit too far behind here. I would prefer hit further up. Because right now he's just taking 1 or 2 units, if I remember correctly. So we have the Tempest from Bonny coming in. You have the Snail's Recent. The Warg is added on SSP, and Aviator staying with the Growl here will be leaking, but it would be a hold from SSP. Bonny the only one not receiving a Recent here on wave 2. So the Fire Archer survives, the Oathbreaker survive as well, so the positioning seems to be fine here for Basti. And we do have the hold from SSP, and the 3 mobs leak as expected from Aviator. And it will still be able to get us a Violet, I do presume. 130, you need 180 plus 85, 217. Yeah, you got enough here. It's 265. There you go. So you get this, and you have the Violet out. You are at 5 worker. A bit a safer approach to the Violet, of course, because it holds the Snell on wave 2 and is less susceptible to a leak on wave 2. And so we do have here, finally, the second edition of the Oathbreaker here from Basti. Bonny going for another Tempest. We'll be able to hold the 40 cent here, I do presume. But, I mean, no, wait, the positioning from the Tempest is quite weird here. One after the other means there's no shared aggro. And, of course, it can be better later on, but in the early game, you pretty want to have this diagonal to have the shared aggro between the Tempest, and now you're just leaking here. Very surprising leak here from Bonny. I would have much preferred to see the Bosun split instead to ensure a hold and bring some of the units on the back Tempest. But easily held in the middle by Basti here. We do have the Recent here coming from both SSP and Aviator, 40 for each. And right now only SSP is a bit further behind, but that's because Basti decided to save on him a bit more. We do see SSP. He was sitting on a bit of amount of gold. He's just now spending it and shifting the rest here. He gets the Warg, but gets nothing as sent. So it means that he will get either the Canopy or the Alpha Male next wave. We'll keep a tab of that on that. We do have the Infiltrator edition here, Infiltrator as well on Aviator. We do have the split being done by Bonny, but the damage is already done here, and he will be leaking again. Due to the small mistake on wave 3, extending the wave allows SSP to get the 60 cent here, and Basti leaking as well to the 60 cent of Aviator. So no real Yeah, I mean, it was just a positioning error from Bonny that allowed them to get a 60 cent. 40 cents could have been way manageable, way more manageable for both Basti and Bonny, but the long wave didn't help them. They do take the worker lead though. They are both at 7 workers. Well, I mean the worker lead, but Aviator is sitting at 8 here, holding his cent. His cent was a 60 cent as well, but was able to hold it. That's the difference. But wave 5 has come in, and we do have the 120 cent from Basti onto SSP. He predicts the canopy route for SSP, and so that means that he will be leaking. The canopy very good against the imps possibility, but pretty bad against the brute spam. So we do have income sends from Bonny onto Aviator yet again, but the 2 infiltrators plus the violet should be enough to hold here. Looking at the builds, the Tempest edition here, still in the line here, not going for the split aggro. Quite surprising from Bonny. And the 2 of Breaker here should be well enough to hold for Basti. He is although 380 value, and yes, it is enough. And the Tempest are doing work on that wave. And we do have a hold from SSP here. The canopy being enough to give time to the mask. Is it a hold though? Will be very close. The mask one-on-one versus the brute, and the mask wins. But after that, SSP holding the long save allows him to push a lot of worker. He already has the canopy very good on 6 and 7. And so also paired with the mask will be able to tank some of the Rokos on wave 6, giving time to the canopy, which is the main damage dealer. And on wave 7, you'll have the mask and the canopy being the damage dealer. So good preparation from SSP, able to hold the 140 cent on wave 5, and take ahead of Basti in terms of worker and putting pressure on Bonny in answer as well. I do have the Leviathan here, early Leviathan for Bonny. Does mean that he has a lot of value here. He is overvalued. He is at 7 workers. He is the furthest one behind. Despite Basti's saving on SSP, he was not able to get a worker lead out of that. He only gave Aviator the worker lead here, sitting at 11 workers, holding just barely with the Windhawk. What does he aim to do? He does aim for the Nightmare, it looks like. So Nightmare. Oh no, okay, he's doing for the Veteran boost. Does he need the Veteran boost though? Doesn't seem so. He is quite far under. But right now what's troubling me is that this Veteran is not tanking for his damage here. This Veteran is off tanking with everything else, so it might be still good, but I don't see it happening. We're gonna see the builds a little bit afterwards. We do have the Sins coming in, 180 onto Basti. Does have the Badger in the split to protect the Fire Archer. I really like this decision. But the problem is that this is going onto directly onto the Disciple, which is not what you want. You would have wanted more on the side of the Badger to give more time here for the Disciple. This will result into a leak from Basti, but a hold from Bonny being low workers, and a hold from SSP to the 120 cent here, not a small one, and 100 cent here onto Aviator will be pretty well dealt with, I must say. 50%. Knowing he was under, did not boost, and maybe this Veteran could have been positioned a bit better. I mean, this is, of course, in the point of view of the player that is not playing that build quite often. So he might be right that this split is just dying too fast, and so he needs something to catch back up and let the Violet live a bit longer. Might be the reasoning behind it. But do we have a cover in the middle from Bonny? It does not look like, so it will be some king damage here caused by the Drake. No, okay, just barely. Just barely able to hold here. The income set heavy income game here from Bonny. It does mean that he is able to keep up in income, but he's far in the worker game as of now. He is 11 worker, yes, but he was sitting at 7 workers while Aviator was at 11. meaning that there is still 120 lithium unspent on Aviator, while still being ahead close on income compared to Bonny. The builds did not upgrade much. We do have the Nightmare family from Aviator. Just wanted a bit of frontline before adding it. The 100 Sen should be able to be dealt with here. The veterans are doing their job here, tanking for everything. Nightmare taking damage is not ideal because it will be taking the damage after the Infiltrator, meaning that it will die. Will it have enough to kill everything else on this wave? It does look like it will be a very small leak. Need to be very prudent when calling these kind of stuff. Just the damage is just not there. It's a long wave, that's one thing's for sure. And it will be one Cobra lead, or even will it? Ugh! It was just the last it. The animation was out. But the long wave here, very crucial here. SSP and Aviator has a lot of pressure on the opponent. They are pretty strong on next wave. No, SSP is not. SSP is not strong on next wave. So that might be a problem. Bonny very strong. And we do have the boar also from Basti. So SSP and Aviator not going for wave 9, very crucial. SSP uncertain, would be as well in this place. But he's still prepared for wave 10, so it's all about Aviator being good here on that wave, and not really. But what a luck for him to not receive a send here. So not receiving a send here, they will probably send on wave 10. And we do have here the bigger send here, 200 send onto SSP. Some of the wave is killing the mask, but the mask are pretty much no damage at all on this wave. But it looks like it will result into a leak, and not a small one. But it is more time. They have the worker lead. How do they use the pressure now? Do they go for 10? They need to be careful because wave 10 is still a decent wave for Basti with the Disciple. And Bonnie's still going for income. The ram is coming from SSP. Does the ram comes from Aviator, or is it something else? Is it just full income? What does it decide to do? 360 to send. Quite a lot of options here. But the better send should be the ram. Yeah. So the ram is coming from Aviator. Going for lizard support. And Bonnie and Basti are investing to king attack now. They go for income king. That is how we call it. And now it's all about, does the ram make the work here? We have a lot of pierce damage in those Leviathan, but their spell might go onto the boss. There's a lot of impact in the vials, but what is the front line? The front line is only the Yozora here. Do you have the Daphnes and Ranger here from Basti? That is crucial. Very, very crucial decision here from Basti. And will it be enough to nuke down the boss? Right now, it has a shared aggro between everything here. Some of the DPS is going onto the boss, some of the DPS going onto the ram. That is a worst case scenario. But the ram is going down. It's going down right now. And now the boss is under attack, but there's just not enough time now for the DPS here to do their job. And it will be a massive leak here on that side, and massive leak as well on Bonny. Do they have enough HP to survive that? This is a lot of HP on those bosses. Aviator not being able to hold, but SSP is able to hold with the Trinity Archer present and in a front line. And the wave 9 send from Basti, Asynchronous send, made that happen. The longer wave 9 enabled SSP and Aviator to get both the Siege Ram with an income. And it looks like it will be close to enough damage here to kill the king, and yes, it will be quick wave 10 win for SSP and Aviator. But that is the danger of doing asynchronous sense compared to synchronous sense. So we did see, oh, SSP very weak on wave 9. We'll get him here. We've been saved a long time. But they probably send us on wave 9. They see our Tempest, they see our they don't see the boar, so they might go here, right? But that's the thing. You've long saved onto SSP, but Aviator did receive on wave 8, so you felt safe. Yeah, okay. If I leak wave 9, it will be pretty small. I've got good units. Doesn't receive anything. And SSP does receive. So it's always that thing. Like, you can aim for common weak wave to aim for mercenaries at will that you want to go for, especially if the opponent is not sending together. They send together on wave 7, then Aviator receives the resend, extends the wave. So the extension of the wave is good for Basti because he wants to send wave 9 on SSP, but you need to have a wave 10 holder. They might have presumed that Bonny had enough with the Tempest Leviathans, but just a single additional unit, like the Siege Drum we saw, uh, it just allows the spell to go onto the Siege Drum and not on the boss. A lot of time wasted. And when this is your only DPS, then you don't have focus fire, so you don't have that burst damage from the Leviathans. And Basti, well, he was showing some good promises with a star color potentially on wave 10, but decided to go for the boar while Bonnie is being strong on that wave. And that's the crucial part as well. When you're playing with a teammate and you prepare for the exact same wave, you expose often yourself to the following wave. Now, if you overinvest into wave 7 with Harbinger, and your teammate is only good on wave 7 as well, and pretty weak on 8, you're gonna killing yourself on your own because you don't have someone who's preparing something more of 8 and something more of 7. And this kind of preparation is often better, but um, it is still good to prepare for the wave you expect to send on. So here it's okay to prepare for wave 7 for both players because along the save did did favor them to go for that route. And then over investing into wave 9 when the violet is already shown on Bonnie was a bit of a mistake here. And so investing into more Tempest or more frontline for wave 10, like you already have your violet, you only need time. And so building your user around wave 9, very nice decision as well. Because you see, you have Basti preparing for wave 9, decided to shy away from the star color because he thought that with the disciple shown, the enemy would send him here. But just crucial decisions here. Uh, and yeah, it's a way to deal with long save that one player sacrifices himself for one of the wave and enables you to not lose some king damage or lose the game just plainly to a single wave like wave 10. Yes, the Daphnes and Ranger are very good on wave 10, but the Siege Ram just delays that much uh, the units, and when most of your damage is through tank line, like you have a lot of Bone Warrior, that's a lot of value that's not present into impactful units. You have Infiltrators that are very good early, but wave 10 they're only a tank, not doing much damage. Fire Chair pretty low on the damage chart as well on wave 10. So all these kind of combinations here led to the victory on wave 10 for SSP and Aviator. That is a well executed long save, recognizing what was the situation every single wave, and just accepting the risk here. They know SSP is pretty weak on wave 9, but Aviator just received a send, and he has a Violet, he has a Windhog, he has the boosted Infiltrator as well, so he is prepared for a small resend, and that is the most that he expect, a small resend, and just yes, he leaks wave 10, but I say, SSP, I'm protecting you on wave 9, but you need to cover me on wave 10. So, with that said, SSP only pushing one worker to ensure himself to get that Trinity Archer and protect Aviator's leak. So, if this wasn't lethal, it would still be a huge win for SSP and Aviator because they don't take any king damage, while on the other side they do. So, on that, gonna say thank you for watching, hope you liked it, and see you next time.